Hey makeup friends, I am home from work today. I am not feeling the best, but I received an email from the court with a judge requesting a conference between me and another lawyer later on this afternoon. So what I thought I would do today is walk you through my work makeup. And I'm going to use new items that I've just received, some of them just today. So very quickly, we're going to be using some BH Cosmetics eyeshadows. I've got face products from the Lip Bar, as well as the new liner and mascara from Bite Beauty, and a couple of items from a new brand to Sephora called Saie. So if you're interested in any of those products, just keep watching. Before we dive into the video, of course, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. If you are new here, then you likely do not know, but in my actual day-to-day job, I am a family lawyer, so I deal with all divorce all the time, and it can get very draining, particularly when there is a high level of conflict between the parties, and that is the situation today. It's come to the point in this particular matter where trial is looking imminent, unfortunately, and that is what this conference is going to be about. My client is looking to have the trial this spring, whereas the other party prefers to deal with it in the fall. So they can't even agree on when to go to trial on this matter, and so the judge wants to meet with the other lawyer and myself through Zoom just to talk about the matter and hopefully have some creative solutions that may keep this family out of trial altogether, simply because that is a very expensive option and frankly not ideal. It just tends to push people even further apart, and then you're having a stranger dictate the terms of your family to you, whereas if you can settle it, even if it's not a perfect arrangement, at least you've had some control over the outcome. So we will see where it goes, but for now I do need to get ready for that Zoom call. As you can see, I am at home today. I'm not in my office. I'm not feeling the best, but here we are. I do want to look presentable for this Zoom call, so I wanted to walk you through my makeup application, talk about these new items, see how they do. So in a lot of cases, these are first impressions, or at least very early impressions, but I did just want to put them to the test, and more thorough reviews will come on my channel down the road. So let's just get straight into the makeup. So I've already started by priming my face before I sat down to film. So for that, I used the Good Molecules silicone-free priming moisturizer. And I really like this one, especially when I'm trying out newer products, because it doesn't add a ton of radiance to my skin. It doesn't blur or mattify. It just helps to hydrate my skin and just prepare it for makeup coming on top. And I like that because it doesn't tend to skew the foundations. So I've let that one sit and just sort of sink into my skin so that I am now ready to go ahead with my base products. So I'm going to start off with foundation today, and I'm going to use this one from the Lip Bar. They're now going by TLB, but in case you're more familiar with the Lip Bar, they're one and the same now. So this is their Skin Serum Foundation with hyaluronic acid and Irish moss extract. I have no clue what Irish moss extract does, but it sounds fancy. At any rate, I have it in the shade 102. Now, I will say I have tried this one before. If you are very fair, this is probably a range that you're going to want to skip over, because I have the second lightest shade and it's almost too dark for me. So just be warned. If you're really fair, just for comparison, I am NC 20. This is a little bit dark on me. Now, they have changed their packaging as well, so they now have it available in a pump rather than with the built-in brush. I would have preferred the pump, but this is what I've got to work with, so here we go. And it's just one of those little like clicky bottom guys. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a shake. And then the problem with clicky things is that I never know exactly how many times I need to click. So I'm gonna start with 2. We can always add more. Now I'm not going to use the attached brush to blend it out just because it's a very stiff brush and quite narrow. So I'm going to use this one here from BK Beauty. It's the 101. I'll use that to blend it out. But as you can see, probably, I don't know, under the lights you might not be able to see, but I can see in the mirror that it has a very strong yellow undertone. And while that works for me, because I have a strong yellow undertone as well, but if I didn't, matching the undertone would be a little bit difficult in terms of their shade range. So this one is workable for me, but I think even a shade lighter would have been a better option for me. Now, slight shade issues aside, the foundation does blend out nicely. It is a rather thicker foundation, but once it's applied, it doesn't feel heavy on the skin, so I don't mind the thickness of it. And like I said, it blends out nicely. There's no strong scent to it. It doesn't like add a ton of glow to the skin or truly mattify it. It looks very natural, leaning maybe a little bit towards the dewier side, but not overly so. Like I don't feel like I look greasy with it. I feel it just makes me look sort of healthy and alive, which is really kind of the look that I'm going for. I feel like Zoom has kind of lowered all of our expectations at this point, so the bar is pretty low in terms of, you know, appearance's sake, but I still just want to do it for myself, to be honest. And I mean, nothing like a surprise appearance before a judge to get the heart pumping, but here we are. And I was going to film today anyways, so I figured I would just change tacks midway, and here we are. We're gonna do work makeup today. It's good. So there's the foundation blended out. In terms of coverage, I would say that it is a good solid medium coverage. I could go in and build up more, but I don't really want to. Frankly, this coverage is good for me. I do have like a little visitor over here. I feel like the foundation has helped to just take the redness out. I can still kind of see it poking through. I could just add some concealer or something, but honestly, it's really not a big deal to me. I really don't care that much. I can still see the freckles on my nose, and also just to point out that this does blend nicely over my nose as well. Not all foundations do, but this one does. So there you have the foundation. I think it looks very natural once it's blended out. It is just a hair deep for me, but I think it's going to be good when we move into summer months and I'm outside in the sun more. So overall, not a dud, but like I said, the warning still stands. If you are very fair, you're probably going to have a hard time matching with this foundation, but they do offer samples, so you could always try and see if it'll work for you. I also picked up the concealer from TLB. This is the Quick Conceal Caffeine Concealer, and I have it in shade 1 Ivory. So whereas with the foundation there's like 102, 104, and I think it goes to 106, with the concealers it's just in the main family. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So you don't really get the nuance with the undertones, and this is definitely lighter than the foundation, which I don't necessarily mind because I do like to have that brightening effect for my concealer. So let's go ahead and apply this one. It does come with a nice solid doe foot there. And it is definitely brighter than the concealer, as you can see. Now, normally I don't really apply concealer like all over the place, but I am going to put some across this part of my forehead and just down on the chin as well, frankly just to help brighten up what the foundation has made a little bit darker on my skin. So that's kind of the only reason I'm doing it. To blend that out on my face, I'm going to use that same 101 brush. I don't know that it makes a noticeable difference, but whatever. I enjoyed the process. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend out the under eyes, but of course I need a brush to do so, and I don't have one at the ready. Hi, there it is. All of my brushes, almost all of them, are sitting waiting to be bathed, and I just keep putting it off, and now I have slim pickings over here, frankly, so I've had to fish out the cleanest of the brushes to use for today's video. Life just keeps getting in the way of things. And also, we just had a really lazy weekend this weekend. It was actually really nice. But I woke up this morning and, is it too much information? I don't know. Pretty sure that I have a bladder infection. Don't like that. So I did get to call a doctor, not my doctor, My doctor and I are just, we're on a break for right now, because what she did with my son, I haven't forgiven quite yet. Regardless. Anyways, they have like this helpline, I guess, and you just go online and you say, here's the time that I'd like a doctor to call me. And then they freaking called me at that time. It was fantastic. And he talked about my symptoms and then asked me a few other questions. And then they faxed over a prescription to my pharmacy. It was painless. Like, I was on the phone with him for like 5 minutes. It's fantastic. Way better than going to a walk-in and having to sit there for hours. So I'm pleased with that. Not pleased with not feeling the best, though. We'll put it that way. All right, switching gears, focusing on the makeup for a moment. The concealer does blend out really nicely. In terms of coverage, it doesn't have as much as what I typically look for. So I can still see that bluishness peeking through underneath. I think a color corrector would help if I used that before just going in with the concealer. But this is kind of the level of coverage that, like, you know, back in the days when I went to the grocery store and ran random errands, this is the kind of concealer that I'd be looking for on those days. Like days when I'm not wearing foundation but still just want to hide a bit of the blue dark circles under my eyes, this is the kind of coverage that I would look for. I think it blends out really nicely, and having worn it a few times now, it lasts really well throughout the day as well. I don't find it to be drying. It doesn't get like slick or slippery under there. It does crease up a tiny bit, but let's be honest, every concealer does on me because those fine lines are getting a little bit less fine as time goes on. But overall, I do like it. I wish that it came with a little bit more coverage, but that's just my own personal preference. Now, because I just really like to set my makeup with powder, frankly, I'm just going to go ahead and set just my under eyes right now with just a tiny bit of the Maybelline Fit Me powder. And the brush that I'm using for that is from Delium Tools, and it's the 788. I love this brush because it just fits right under my eyes with no problem. And it's fluffy enough to blend powders out, yet precise enough to get right into like these deep little nooks and crannies in here without stabbing myself in the eye. For bronzer, I'm going to use the one from Chanel. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel. I believe it's going by another name now, Le Beige, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. This is in my project pan that I've been working on, so I'm just going to stick with this one. I pick it up on a Real Techniques brush. This is the contour brush, and I like it because it just lets me put the bronzer exactly where I want it without being too fluffy about it. I cannot tell you how good this bronzer smells. Like, literally, I could just sit here and huff it. If they could come up with a candle in this scent, oh my goodness, it's so nice. For blush, I'm going to use a cream blush. This one's from Shiseido. It's in the shade Momoko number 3, and it's one of their Minimalist whipped powder blushes. This one's a really pretty, like, burnt apricot kind of shade. I'm just going to pick it up with my finger. It's got like a moussey kind of texture. Like, it's not super solid in there, but it blends out so nicely. And yet it still packs a punch with the pigment. Put a little bit on my nose as well. All right, so now we're going to use this product here from Saie. This is the Glowy Super Gel in the shade Starglow. This was just delivered today, so this is very much a first impression. So I'm not entirely sure what to expect from it, but it comes with a nice little pump. I'm going to apply it with a brush, so I'm going to use the Smashbox, oh my god, way too small lettering, Precise Highlighting Brush. I've talked about this one in previous videos because I really like the shape of this brush. So I just put one pump. I suspect that'll be enough to cover my entire face. Okay, so let's give her a go and see. Now it certainly does have a very, I wouldn't say it's runny, but it is definitely like a thinner consistency. So I'm just going to place it where I'm going to want it, and then I'll blend from there. So I'm not sure if this is going to be like in your face or more subtle. it kind of, you know what, in terms of how it's blending out, it reminds me of the Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, in that it's not super glowy, but you can definitely see it on the skin. Blends out really nicely, so I like that. This is actually a really good choice for court because I don't really want like super strong bling highlighter or anything of that sort, but it just brings enough life to my skin that, again, I look healthy and alive, which again is the look that I'm going for. Okay, I like that. Let's see up close. It just blends right into the foundation. Like, there are no like sparkly bits or anything of that sort. It looks very natural on the skin. I like that. And yet it's still, like, you can still see it. It's kind of that like lit from within kind of idea. So if you like a more subtle highlight, this is the way to go. I like that. Look at that. Whew. Okay, we got a winner. That's good. I like that. All right. Now, let's see how it holds up with just a little bit of powder on top of it, because I do like to set my face. So again, I'm going to use that Maybelline Fit Me powder. And I'm going to pick it up on the BK 104 powder brush. I've tapped off most of the powder that was on there, just because I just like a really thin amount. I'm not trying to like bake my skin or anything of that sort. I just want to take off the edge of some of the tackiness from the products on my face. And we'll see if that highlighter can still peek through with a little bit of powder on top of it. Yes, it can. Most definitely. Perfect. Okay, I'm really happy with how the base makeup looks. I'm going to prime my eyes and then I'll come back and we will dip into the BFF palette from BH. All right, we are primed and ready to do the eyes. I used the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas base in medium for that, and with what was left over on the brush from setting my concealer, I set the primer. So now we're going to go into this palette here from BH Cosmetics. If you haven't seen the inside, there it is, a mix of like neutral and some colorful options. For today's look, I'm just going to keep it very neutral. So as tempting as these blues are, I have to refrain. I'm going to hold myself back from that. So what I'm going to do is start off with this brush here from BK Beauty. This is the 201, and I'm going to pick up this shade right here and put that in the transition area. Now, there are really no hard and fast rules in terms of what's acceptable or not acceptable for makeup. We have received memos in the past in terms of like what's inappropriate clothing to wear, which you would think being sent out to a group of professionals, like it should kind of be common sense, but here we are. Every now and then somebody does something and we need a reminder. But makeup is never really listed on there. So again, I think it just kind of falls under that common sense category. So for my own, like at my office, I own my own office, so I don't care what I wear. Like if I want to go with like graphic liner and glitter, I can do that. I don't, but I could. But for court, you know, there's a certain sense of decorum, and it's about respecting basically the institution in which we're at. So I like to keep it a bit more neutral. Still, obviously, I like to do makeup, but I don't want it to be the central point. I want my advocacy of my client to be in the forefront. I don't want my makeup to distract from that. So that's why I'm going to avoid the more bright options that are in this palette. But I will say this shade is blending out really nicely. I haven't had to dip, well, once I dipped back in, but it packs a punch. I am just so consistently blown away by BH. Love their eyeshadow formula so much. All right, so now that I've got that on there, I do want to go ahead and deepen up the crease a little bit. So I'm going to go in with a slightly deeper, well, I guess more than slightly. I'm going to go in with this shade here and pick that up on a MAC, what is this, it's a 217 brush. So I'm just going to place that into the crease, down onto the lid a little bit, and then just do some blending. Now because I have hooded eyes, I do find that I have to blend up above the crease as well, or else you don't see it. It just gets folded into that little area in there. So even though I say I'm going to deepen the crease, I really do have to go above the crease in order for it to have any sort of visible impact. Now, I don't always show it in my videos, but after I've applied like this step of my makeup, I always kind of like pull back a bit and look, because I have asymmetrical eyes. Like this has 2 little creases, this one has 1. So the placement sometimes I have to adjust because they don't quite look the same. So I did a fairly good job today, but this one could be blended up just a little bit higher just to match the overall sort of shape of the other eye. Honestly, before I did like Instagram and YouTube, I had no idea that my eyes were asymmetrical. I had no clue whatsoever. But then you start staring at yourself in makeup pictures and editing yourself and all that, and you're like, oh, I've been wonky all my life. Here we are. Okay, now I do want to deepen things up even more, so I'm going to pick up another MAC brush. This is the 221, and I'm going to take this shade over here, which is just a really nice deep brown. And I'm going to use that under the lower lash line and right on the very outside of my lid as well. So I always like to sort of pat it into place first just to get the most pigment there, and then I go ahead and blend. Because if I just load up my brush and then just try to swipe it, first of all, there's going to be transfer down, but also it's just going to be way more work than it's worth. Whereas if I just pat it into place, then I already know that that color is there and it's nice and saturated, and then I can just blend the edges from there much more easily. Before I add any more shadows, I'm going to go back to the second brush that I used, the MAC 217, and I'm going to use that just to blend where all of those shadows are meeting, just to soften up all the edges. Now to soften up underneath my lower lash line, I'm going to use this shade right here, and I'm going to pick it up on that same 217 brush. See, oftentimes I will use the same shade that I used in the transition area to blend out my lower lash line, but because I went in with a more yellow tone, I don't want to bring the yellow underneath my eyes simply because it makes me look a little sallow and sickly, and that is not a cute look. So more neutral beige blends things out nicely and then helps it just sort of fade into my skin. For the center portion of my lid, I'm going to pick up this shimmery shadow here, and I'm going to do that on a flat brush. This is the 773 from Delium Tools. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up, and while these shimmers are beautiful, I am going to use a bit of setting spray just to help it like adhere into place. Have to find my setting spray first. Where the hell? There it is. Okay. I keep trying to organize myself, and in doing so, I just keep losing things because I place them in different areas, and then it's like, where the hell did I put anything? I'm a disaster. There we go. So I'm just going to pat that onto the center part of my lid and towards the inner portion, but I'm going to leave the very inner portion blank for now. Like, look how beautiful those shimmer shadows are. And they last all day. They're like these. I love BH. I don't know how many times now I've said that on my channel, but like truly, truly do. They have not yet disappointed me. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that dark brown shade again, this guy over here. In the viewfinder, these two look very similar, so there is a difference. This one's more like a true brown, and this one has a red undertone. So this one goes really nicely with like these shades across, oh God, get in frame, across the top. But I find that this one plays really nicely with these guys down here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that and then just blend the edge of the outer portion and where that shimmery shadow is. Hi. Before we move on to the inner corner, I have to do a little show and tell here on some of these blues because they're so beautiful. And I don't know if I'm going to film the blues with these, but like, oh my God. I want I want all of that on my eyes. They're beautiful. I just had to show you those because I keep looking at them thinking like, can I maybe sneak some of that blue in there? And no, not with this look. I can't. But they need to be shown to the world. So now we've accomplished that. I can move on with the rest of this look. Okay, so for that, I'm going to use this brush here, which is from Refer. It's the number 3, just a really small pencil brush. And I'm going to pick up this shade up in this corner here. I'm going to put that into the inner corner and then onto that very inner portion of my lid as well. This one, I guess I'm not setting it with setting spray or spraying it with setting spray because I forgot, I guess. But also, I don't think it really needs it. It's so pretty. Oh my goodness. And that is eyeshadow done. So now I'm going to make the bold move of not only trying to do eyeliner on camera, but using an eyeliner I've never used before, so I don't know what to expect with it. And that is going to be the new one from Bite Beauty. This guy here, I cannot remember what it's called. The Upswing Extreme Longwear Liquid Eyeliner. It only is available in black, so that's what we've got to work with. And frankly, it looks promising, at least in terms of the applicator. So there it is, sort of like a felt tip kind of applicator, not too long, not too wibbly wobbly. I'm going to compare it really quickly to my ABH ones because I love the ABH liquid liner so much. I just want to see if these applicators, because it reminds me very much of the ABH. They are damned near identical. The ABH with the purple is like a millimeter longer. Oh, I have high expectations for you, Bite. Please do not disappoint me. Do not. Okay, here we go. So since we're doing this, I may as well do a winged liner. I don't do wings all the time, especially on this eye, it's getting a little, it's losing the fight with gravity. So it's getting a little harder to do the winged liner, but we're here. Let's try it. So when I do winged liner, bearing in mind I do have hooded eyes, I start with just lining the upper lash line, but I cannot talk while I do it, so I'm going to shut up, just line the upper lash line. Nothing too exciting. Okay, so far, very first impressions are good. Didn't have to build it up, didn't have to dip back in, didn't get super sticky. It's actually applying like it's matte. I like that. I like a matte liner. Nice and smooth. Had a lot of control on the applicator. Okay, so far, so good. Let's see how we make out actually doing the wing. So before, you know what, because I can't talk and do it, I'm just going to explain what I do. So I have my mirror sitting in front of me. I try to get it so that I'm looking dead on into the mirror, because if I like do one of these or if I stretch things out, because like you can see, watch, like I do that and then I like rest, everything kind of goes down, then these little creases fold and then the liner just looks wonky. So I want to look at it with like a natural neutral expression on my face so that everything's sort of falling the way that it's normally going to do. And then I will go ahead and I will, a lot of people drag out. I just can't seem to get the knack of that, so I drag in. I don't think it's right or wrong, but it's just the way that I do it. So I drag in and then, let's see here. I mean, you'll see it as I'm applying it, so it'll make a little bit more sense. Okay, we'll just use this brush. So I drag my line in. So I've got one line sitting there. And then from where the tip is going to be, I make a line across. And then I close my eye. And it's going to look really wonky, and the line is not like a perfect V. Again, this is going to make more sense in a minute. But then I'd sort of connect them so that when I open my eye again, you can't tell that the shape of it is weird because it looks normal until I close my eyes. But I don't spend an awful lot of my day walking around with my eyes closed, so not a big deal. Okay, bearing that in mind, it is going to make more sense right now because I can't talk my way through it, so let's just do it. So you can see it looks crazy, but that's because that's how much real estate folds up when my eye is open. So then I'm just going to connect it. And then fill it in. I'm gonna let it dry for a second. I know it looks insane. I know it does. Got my handy dandy little fan that I got from ordering Chinese food a couple of years ago. It was free. It works. I just don't want the liner to transfer, and because I've never used it, I don't know if it's prone to transferring. I feel like it's drying really quickly just because I can feel a little bit of tugging as I'm filling in the wing. So, okay. It looks crazy. It looks less crazy, right? But we can perfect things. So I'm going to dip back in, get a little bit more liner, and then I'm going to try to make it as smooth and wing-like as possible. So I just look for areas where it can be fixed up a bit. So it does look a little bit jagged. So I'm just going to smooth that out. Now, it may go without saying, I genuinely don't know, but little tiny strokes is way easier to do than trying to like do these elaborate like one line wonders. Nobody knows if you take a million steps to do this. It's not a competition. So make your life easy. Just do little tiny strokes. It gives you more precision and it's way easier. See, it transferred. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. It's okay. We'll deal with it. It's fine. Now, I am going to just even this area out so that it's not like line up. Just gonna add a little bit of an angle there. And then smooth things out over here. The wing has like a little bit of a hook to it, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna finish this eye and then we'll try to fix the oopsie. I'll be right back. There we have it. Now, they are not perfectly symmetrical, but neither am I. And that is totally fine because in normal day-to-day interaction, you're moving around and people aren't really scrutinizing your winged liner. It's only in like Instagram pictures where it would be really noticeable, especially if I had my eyes closed, because this one looks way bigger than this one and they do have a different shape. But life is not an Instagram picture, so I don't really get too bent out of shape about it. I do, however, not want that there, so I am going to try to remove it. So I found these little guys over at Walmart. So they are dual tip makeup applicators with fine and flat tips. I would not apply any makeup with it, but I'm going to try to take makeup off with this pointy little end here. So I just have my Bioderma stuff, and squirting this up is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's okay. I can pick it up with that point. This could be a disaster, but let's just see what we can do here. Trying not to disturb all the shadow underneath it, but I think that's going to be a little bit of a losing battle. We'll just take our time and see what we can do. And this time I'll remember to fan it again. There we go. It's not necessarily perfect, but nobody would ever know. So it's totally fine. Okay, now I also have the Bite Upswing Mascara, so I have not tried this one either. Let's go ahead and see what she's all about. It's got like a nice bristle brush. I'm just going to go ahead and apply, see how we do. Now, just for reference sake, I have fairly lengthy lashes. They're not perfectly straight, but they don't have like a massive curl to them, so they do need a little bit of help in that regard, but I don't find them to be overly sparse. I've seen Kate the Great Beauty use this mascara and her lashes look phenomenal with it, so I have high expectations. I don't think I finished out my thoughts on the liner, but I really like it. I really do. I like that it applies, it's super matte, it's dried down nicely, you don't have to like go over it a bunch of times to build it up at all, and the precision is there with the applicator, so I really like that. Now, mascara. It's hard to tell because I've got this giant winged liner on it now, pain in the ass, but I can definitely tell, like, this lash is definitely lifted more than this one. And it hasn't, like, clumped together in a really weird way. I like that. Okay. I would say it definitely helps to, like, do whatever the hell that is. Lift the lashes and add some curl. I definitely think they look a little bit more voluminous, shall we say? I'm not going to bother like lining my waterline, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this mascara on the lower lashes as well. It definitely adheres to like every single lash, but it's not clumping them together. Like, holy shit. No lashes? Lashes! Holy shit, that's impressive. Okay, I am liking this mascara a lot. Bite did the damn thing. The liner, the mascara, really enjoying that. All that's left are lips. And for lips, I'm going to use another product from Saie, and this is their lip gloss. I cannot remember what it's called. It's called Really Great Gloss. So there it is in the name. I expect it to be really great. This one is in the shade Chill, which is just like a really pretty pinky sort of neutral shade. So let's give this one a go. It's got a nice flat doe foot here. Oh, what does that smell? It's a type of cereal. It smells like a cereal. Like Raisin Bran, maybe? Something like that. It has like that, I don't know. It's not super sweet, but it smells like maybe brown sugar? I think there's a big difference between brown sugar and Raisin Bran. I don't even know why I'm trying to describe this. I can't describe scents to save my life. But definitely like a brown sugar kind of thing coming through. I like that. It's a little bit different than what you normally get, but I like that. It's not too strong. Okay, let's go ahead and apply. That is a really pretty color. I like that. As you can see, I didn't use like any lip liner or anything because I really want to know what this feels like. It applies almost more like a liquefied lipstick. Not like a liquid lipstick that like then dries down, but it has like, there's more substance to it than your typical gloss. I like that. There's no patchiness on it. It just applied really nicely. There's no stickiness. There's none of that mint feel. So there's no like cooling or tingling going on. I like that. It's not like slimy on the lips at all. There's a nice amount of substance without it feeling like it's moving around, you know? There's no grittiness in there. There's no shimmer. It's just a really pretty pinky neutral shade. I like. Okay, well, we'll see how it wears, but I like the fresh application at any rate, for whatever good that is. Yay, I like when new makeup works out. I like that. I did want to put all of these products to the test, just do a full face. Like, it's hard to do a full dedicated video just on a liner, so I thought I'd put them all in the melting pot and give you this gigantic, long video that's going to be a nightmare to edit. But there we have it. I think definitely the stars of the show are the Bite Beauty products, the liner and that mascara. That mascara is fantastic. I'm really liking how it looks on the lashes, and it takes a lot for a mascara to really wow me, but this one is definitely doing it. Also, that highlighter is right up there in terms of performance, because again, it's like that lit from within, like I've drank all the water that I'm supposed to and maybe ate a couple vegetables. Like, it's looking like I'm healthy. Yay! All right, I now have about an hour to eat my lunch and get ready for a surprise court date, but thank you for coming along with me and getting ready with me, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.